All right. Hey, Coach.
Hey Nick, how are you?
Good, good. I'm sure my phone's about to go off with Murphy's plan for the school year any minute now.
Oh yeah, that's supposed to come out now.
Yeah, I saw 2 o'clock, so I'm sure I'm going to start getting text messages from coaches and teachers.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right.
Let me, everyone, I got Coach Heron from Jackson Liberty, um, basketball coach. You coach other sports too?
I do. Yeah.
Which other sports do you coach?
I coach field hockey, so I'm coaching field hockey right now. I'm the assistant coach. And I also coach spring track. I cover the distance squad for spring track girls.
So you keep busy besides teaching.
Yeah, I do. I try to at least. I love it though.
Yeah, that's good. Before we get into the sports and everything, how did you, what was your opinion and feelings with the virtual learning to close out the school year?
I mean, I know it's similar to a lot of other teachers. It was difficult at first, getting the kids to sign on at a certain time in the day without sleeping in or staying up too late, um, and completing their assignments. So it was a struggle at first, but then myself included. But eventually we fell into a nice groove, and students started to log in and get their work done. But it was tough at first.
Now, did Jackson do Zoom meetings and stuff? Like,
Uh, yeah, we did. We did some Zoom meetings. It really depended on the teacher.
okay.
Um, we tried to follow like our regular schedule, and then some students would have a strict time to sign on to certain classes. But for phys ed, we really didn't hold any Zoom meets. We pretty much just really utilized Google Classroom.
Okay. I find it weird, talking to all the players doing these interviews. Every school district was different. You
Yeah,
know,
it was.
Now talking to, a couple of soccer players from the Freehold School District, basically they just got their assignments in the morning and just had to have them complete. They didn't have to go on, any Zoom or, any of that. They just had to send their assignments in by a certain time.
Right.
And I know
Yeah.
Madison, St. Rose, RBC, you had to be available for Zoom meetings and, from like 9 to 2. It's just weird that every school district was different.
Yeah, I think everybody was trying to figure out the
Yeah.
best way to get it done, and get the students to log on, and um it was really kind of up to each teacher.
Okay.
So
Yeah, my two nieces, they go to Jackson, one of the grammar schools over there, and one's in third grade, one's in second grade and first grade. They just finished, and
okay.
just the difference between those two classes, in the same school, you could tell it was, it went by teacher, and
Right. Right.
so I guess that's what they're trying, a little more unified, effort, come fall, in a couple months.
Right.
Um, how do you feel, with the seniors losing, award ceremonies and prom and I don't know, did Jackson Liberty actually get to have a graduation?
Yes, they did. Actually, it was last week. So
Um,
they had two sessions where a certain part of the alphabet got to go for one session, and then the second session.
yeah, I was trying to figure out, because I live in Howell, how they were going to do it because Howell Jackson Memorial is such a big school. I mean, Jackson Liberty is a big school. There's no way they were going to be able to have graduation with everyone there. Like St. Rose, who has like only probably 80 kids in their class, they could just hold one graduation.
Right. Yeah. So it was just the two sessions, and Memorial and Liberty did it on different days. So,
Oh, that's good.
um, yeah, they did a really nice job. I was able to watch virtually because they filmed it as well. Um, but it was good. So yeah, it's really sad what happened. Because they miss out on things like prom, but I'm glad they got some type of of graduation. So they got to graduate twice because they did it virtually and then they did it in person. So I was happy about that for them,
Yeah, that
especially for my two seniors, Kayla and Amira.
yeah, yeah, that's great. And I saw a lot of seniors came up with creative ideas to have their own proms at their houses and stuff. It was pretty cool to see when people were posting on, Twitter and Instagram and everything.
Right. Yeah, I saw a few people do that too. So they got to celebrate, and do some things on their own, but it's just the situation.
Now, getting into teaching, what made you decide that you wanted to be a teacher?
I really think, like, similar to a lot of other phys ed teachers, it was just like the athletic background growing up, playing all different types of sports. But then it turned into more than just playing sports. It turned into, I really enjoyed teaching different skills and things like that, to other people. And I just really wanted to, like, carry that. You know, high school kids. So I really enjoy teaching. It's fun. And actually, I wanted to teach elementary and possibly middle school, and then I ended up at the high school. So which I really am glad I did.
Now, you went to Jackson Liberty, right?
I did, yes. I graduated in 2010.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, it's definitely neat being back.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now you only teach phys ed, right?
Correct. Yeah, health and phys ed, and I teach 9 through 12, so I get the best of all worlds.
Yeah, that has to be fun.
It is. It's fun because I'll see a ninth grader first period, and then I'll see like a senior at the end of the day, and just like the dramatic change between each period is just, it's a lot different.
And it has to be pretty, getting to teach them, from ninth grade, seeing them grow up, through the 4 years too, getting them as a freshman and seeing, them as seniors.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking about that today, actually, because I've been at Liberty now for 2 years. The first year I was in a leave replacement position. So I had the freshmen who are now going to be juniors, and I can't believe that they're already going to be juniors.
Yeah, time flies.
It does. It does.
I remember 2 years ago, a parent from Manasquan posted a photo for the St. Rose Run for the Roses grammar school basketball tournament they run. And she asked me, did I cover this? And I said, I go, by the time your daughter was born, I was already done writing for the newspaper. So just like, think about it, 20 years ago, I was writing for the paper. I just got out of high school, and now, these kids are graduating that were just being born at that time.
Right. I know.
Something I talked about when I was talking to JT Truhan on here. How do you find the similarities of being a teacher and coaching? Because to me, I could see a lot of similarities in that.
Right. Yeah. I think that I'm a nice combo of approachable and yet stern at the same time. I like for my students and my athletes to want to be able to talk to me and not be like frightened of me, because in situations in the past, I've had coaches that were either over the top friendly, too scary. So I like to be some of that middle ground. But at the same time, I want them to know that I'm strictly business. So I'm still working on that balance, because at times I'm still like a big kid. So but I approach pretty similarly.
How many years have you been coaching the basketball team at Liberty?
So as a head coach, this was obviously my first year. Okay. But I've been on the staff now for about four years.
Okay.
Before that, I would do some volunteer work here and there while I was in school too, but it was mainly just coming to play against, some of the girls.
Yeah, I know, when I had more on, she couldn't speak highly enough, about you and the staff, helping her, willing to stay after, just helping her, rebound, so she could shoot,
right.
Eventually, I want to eventually get more girls on, from Jackson, to interview, because I think you're building a nice program over there.
Thank you.
One thing I wanted to bring up, now this is something that's bothered me since I was in high school, having two schools in the same town, in the talent, I know Jackson Liberty's, on the newer side, compared to like Brick Memorial,
Right.
even, Howell, most of the athletes from Howell, I think, end up at Freehold somehow, um, Township, but they're split between Township, Colts Neck, Howell. Some even go to Marlboro and Alpin if you're in the special, arts programs. And,
Right.
just thinking, like, I brought it up with Christina Donzer's mom and, Sarah over there, how good Jackson would have been, last season with,
If we combined.
yeah, because what both teams lacked a little bit was bench. And if you had one,
Right.
virtually you had two starting lineups, solid starting lineups, with both teams, and you had a nice bench. Just something that it's always bothered me for some reason. And I went to a Catholic school, so I don't know why it bothered me so much for feeling bad for the public schools, but um,
Yeah.
just shows, Memorial's Group 4, you're Group 3, right? Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just how many kids are in Jackson? It's just amazing how quick that town grew and expanded.
Yeah, I know. So I was the first full 4-year graduate from Liberty. So I'm definitely a Lion. I don't have any any Jag blood in me.
Yeah. So what sports did you play when you were in high school?
So I played
Okay.
basketball. I played field hockey. I also ran cross country for a year. And then I also played lacrosse.
Okay. So lacrosse wasn't even a sport when I was in high school. It was I think it came like when did it come to the shore? Like 02-ish, 03-ish, I think it started.
I believe so. When I got to high school, that was the first time that I picked up a stick. It was, fairly new-ish, but it was fun. I enjoyed playing lacrosse.
Yeah, I talked to Brian from NJ.com because he covers girls lacrosse too, and he says it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
Yeah. He said some games could be tough, and I said, well, it'd be similar to sitting to at a softball game or a baseball game. So that's it.
Right, I know. I remember my family would come out and watch me play field hockey, and there would be a whistle every other second, and no one had any clue why, what the reason was.
Yeah, that's what he was trying to. Because I don't know lacrosse at all. Field hockey I know very little, but he said basically the whistle just blows every 5 seconds for some reason, and really no flow to the game. I want to talk about a few of your players for at Liberty. First, let's start with Maura. I texted you after Monday. I thought she's one of the, to me, top 3 players that stood out Monday night in that Point Pleasant League. What does she, mean to the team? Going into her senior year, I think she's expecting big things. Can you talk about Maura a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you and I had a conversation about her after, the summer league game. It just speaks volumes about her that she was able to just, jump right back on the court after, being in quarantine and, just doing work on her own. And for her to stand out just, speaks volumes about, what this means to her. She just goes above and beyond. She puts that extra work in. She's always, outside shooting on her own hoop. And, like I mentioned to you before, her, and I know she mentioned this about herself in the interview with her, that her confidence has grown, and it really has. You can just see it on the floor, because I have been able to watch her grow as a player. So, and I was happy to get some of that credit. So she's just a tremendous role model for this program, for the school. I could go on and on about her. She's a true leader. She's really grown to be something for, Liberty.
Yeah, what stood out, when I interviewed her was her saying that, going into her junior year, she wanted to put Liberty on the map. And,
Yeah.
that just tells you, total team player she is, and you see it on the court because everyone knows she could score, but the one game, what I think was it Point Pleasant or Mondon? I think she hurt her ankle like the day before, and she didn't score a lot of points, but her passing was, she was finding the open person every time.
Yeah, that was, I believe it was Mondon because she got hurt at Point Beach.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, she played the whole game, and and her passing was, it was so impressive. That stood out to me, and obviously, she's very aggressive getting to the hoop and whatnot, and excellent jump shot. I was going through the stats before I interviewed her, and she was 7th or 8th in the Shore in total points last season. Which that's a huge accomplishment, and that's no one really talks about that because they all talk about the Destinies, Madison St. Rose,
Right.
Christina, I think Christina might have had the most points in the Shore, but just shows she flying under the radar. But after the state run you guys had, we'll talk about that a little bit, but they're gonna be keying in on her on defense. So next I want to talk about Ari. I mean, I was so impressed the first time, and then I found out she was only a freshman. It even blew my mind.
Yeah.
She don't come out. It seems like you have her in there almost every minute. She's just like a bulldog. She hacks the boards, puts it back up. It's probably nice. You freshman year, you're gonna get to see her grow. I think she's gonna grow into something special. Can you talk a little bit about her?
Sure. Yeah, I agree. She's another one who does everything she can to get better. She's always asking, like, what can I do? What am I not doing right here? What can I do? I just sent her 2 emails because I was reviewing the Red Bank game, and I took some videos of her, and I'm like, what can you do better next time here? So I'm waiting for those responses. But yeah, she's what I like to call a true beast.
Yeah.
She is a force to be reckoned with. Just like when I play against the girls at practice, if Ari has her head down, she's coming through the lane. I'm stepping out of the way.
Yeah.
So there was one day at practice, we had the the pad dummies, and we were going over, drawing contact, going up strong for the layup. And one of my assistant coaches, Coach Lowe, got the wind knocked out of her, and she backpedaled like all the way out of bounds past the baseline. And it was something. It was something. So I don't blame any defender that steps out of her way.
Yeah, I would not get in the way, and you're gonna get to see her grow over the 4 years. And I know some people gave me a little crap because I had her, my first team all freshman, and I just don't see how somebody that played almost every minute, probably averaged a double-double, doesn't make certain people's lists for all freshmen, team 1 or team 2, and you got players on there that barely got any minutes on those teams. But
right, yeah.
See.
And I know she definitely takes notice to those things, but I know it's only gonna make her. Yeah, exactly, fuel her. Yeah. So.
And
it's okay.
It's good when kids get take the right motivation out of something that they could be a negative. You got to forget these are young teenage girls.
Right.
If they could turn a negative into a positive, it's great. And she seemed I never got to talk to her in person, but she seems like on the court that she's somebody that wouldn't let that stuff bother her. Really, she's just going to show you on the court that hey, I could do this.
Yeah, well, you have it right, because she's definitely beyond her years, and she only uses that as motivation.
And even talking to opposing coaches, they love watching. I'm pretty close with the Brick staff, and they talked to me after the first time they played you, and because I didn't know anything about your team at that time, and they said you got to check that freshman out, because they all 3 of them loved her. They said the one called her like Zach Randolph, because she's got that nice little left jump shot, and she just attacks the basket, and she don't give up. Like if she misses, she just keeps fighting for that rebound. And, it's great,
Right, yeah.
especially
That's what
somebody.
I love about her.
Yeah, she doesn't get frustrated. She just keeps going and going. Now you had two seniors. One, Kayla, um, point guard. Watching her play, she, very good point guard. Just talk like what Kayla meant, being her senior year, how she, helped lead the team.
Kayla's my go-to gal. Anytime I need to relay a message to the team, she was on it. She knew she's exactly what every team needs. She's my vocal leader. Sometimes coming out to practice, after a long day at school, they're kind of dragging on the court. I could hear her say, "All right, let's go, girls," because she could read from my face that maybe, I was about to, get mad or something like that. But she was always the one to get the energy back in everybody's eyes and get ready to practice that day. But I was able to see her grow as a player too. In years past, she was, the passer. And I told her, like, we need you to put some points on the board. Like, we need you to shoot the ball. And she stepped up huge this season. I can't say enough good words about her. She was a determining factor in some of our games.
Yeah, and she has a nice 3-point shot, and another one she could get to the hoop, and with Aria and Jess, free them up a little bit,
Right.
before they get to the hoop. Yeah, I enjoyed watching her play point, and to me it seemed she played very smart too, point guard.
Absolutely, yeah. She gained a lot of composure, a lot of confidence too, as well.
You had one other senior, Amari, right? Now to me,
Amira, yes.
yeah, Amira. It seemed she came off the bench, right? She didn't start, if I remember correctly.
No, yeah, she came off the bench in a few occasions, and she's another sharpshooter.
Yeah,
when she's on, she's on.
And she seems like she had a lot of energy when she came off the bench, if I remember correctly.
Yes, definitely.
The last player I want to talk about is Jess. Your center. I think somebody told me basketball's not even her primary sport. Am I right on that?
That's correct. Yeah, she's actually a softball player.
But she's for center. She looked like she just played basketball. Basketball was her sport. A nice combo. Having her at center and Aria power forward.
Yeah.
Which was one of the reasons I thought you would give Red Bank Regional a tough game.
Right, with that little bit of a mismatch there.
Yeah, and when me and JT actually spoke about that when he came to scout a little bit when you guys played Middletown North, and I said, we both agreed that you were going to be a tough matchup for that team. So I guess let's talk about a little bit about that Red Bank Regional game. Even Brian wrote it up. Well, first he wrote the Middletown North might have been the biggest win in Jackson Liberty history, and then you guys outdid that, being the number 1 seed.
Right.
So talk a little bit, the Red Bank Regional, like what was your game plan going in the mindset of the team?
Right. So with the whole state tournament, we tried to keep the level of importance of each game the same. We didn't want to add any pressure. So me and the coaching staff, I couldn't do it without them. Like I said before, we're at some points during practice, all 3 of my assistant coaches would be on the floor playing, taking elbows from Ari and trying to out jump Jess and play defense on Mora. So they were taking a beating, and I couldn't do without them. So what we tried to do is just spend the same amount of time as we did for every game. We broke down film, we practiced, we made a scouting report, went over our matchups, and then we just added that little bit of pressure by saying that we set out a goal to be the best and get ourselves on the map. And they just went with it. So, you know, like I said, I couldn't do without my staff. You know, so, but with the Red Bank regional game, again, we just went in with that same mentality, and they showed up to play. I mean, we came out on I think a 6-0 run right off the jump ball.
And
So
I saw Maura the night before. She was at the Memorial game, and I said to her, I go, you guys can win tomorrow. I go, don't think just because they're the 1 seed. I go, you match up perfect for that team. And it was good to see. And I thought, that Middletown North game, Moore she played on another level.
yeah,
she was just doing nothing. Hitting jump shots, going to the hoop. There was one play, I forget what the play exactly was, but I text Gary Litton. I said, "Wow, you should just see the move Moore just did."
I feel like I know which move you're talking about. If it was that baseline layup.
Yeah. And Gary loves getting text messages when his player, somebody he trains, spends, that he gets close with, because all the players he trains is like family to him, and you could love seeing the similarities that they all bring onto the court.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see some of those moves that they all have. They're you could tell.
Her, Jordan, Christina, they all they all have that same type of move going to the hoop and stuff.
Right.
And it just shows you how much work that the girls put. He even said it when I commented after the games on Monday. The effort they put in. Trying to get better, trying to get perfect with their moves, and I wish I had that when I was having the will to work that hard.
Right. I know that's just a great thing about all these girls. They buy in. You show them that you care, and they're all in. So
yeah. And I want to lead that into next season. You guys ended on a very high note, and the plan is that'll carry over. I made some early predictions about your team cracking the top 10, which I still think will happen. Made a prediction you guys will beat St. Rose, but
that's okay.
I think next year your team's going to be a team that you're not. First of all, you're not going to take anybody by surprise next year. And me and JT kind of spoke at that when I interviewed him. That when I said I think Liberty's going to be a top 10 team, he agreed, and he said they're not going to. He goes, unfortunately, it's not going to be able to take anybody surprise with the way they finished, which is good. And
Right.
that talking to more, expectations are going to be higher next year. Let's talk about your outlook. Any new player, any freshmen coming in that I might not know about.
Yeah, so I'm excited for next season. We do have some freshmen coming in, so I hope that they could fill in some of our weaknesses. Our summer workout started, our voluntary summer workout started, so we have some new faces coming out, and I like what we like, the coaching staff. We talked, and we really like what we see so far, so we're really excited. We have a difficult division. Like we pick up teams like St. Rose, you were mentioning, Manasquan, Point Borough.
Yep, Point Borough looked pretty. They look good. I know they split their squad up on Monday, but the one squad I was watching, they look pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know if they were going to take a step back. With Kate graduating, but Jen looked good on the court, and like you said, Manasquan. To me, Manasquan's, my opinion, is the number 2 team in the Shore right now. See how the rest of these transfers play out, but
right.
you are in a tougher division with St. Rose, but like they say, you play the better teams in the division, it's going to be good come postseason, Shore Conference, and states.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've been telling the girls. So, I'm not making any speculations or anything, but I know that we're going to work really hard and we'll come back stronger. We're just going to continue to set goals and, strive to achieve them like we did this past season, and hopefully check some of those boxes off along the way.
Yeah, I look forward to watching the team. Who do you guys play on Monday?
I believe we have it might be Donovan and I forget who we have the second time around.
I do think you play Donovan because I was gonna, as long as it's not 100 degrees out, I was planning on going at least catching that group. But it's supposed to be hot out there.
Yeah, we were on the two sunny
Yeah,
courts, so hopefully we get that shady one.
yeah. I thought your team in Freehold looked very good. I was really impressed the way Freehold looked. They looked like they've been playing all year.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
So
they also been basically been the same starting lineup for the last 3 years. For Freehold, and he's a pretty good coach.
yeah,
So
they definitely came out ready to play in that first game. So
yeah, yeah. But I look forward to seeing more of your team during the summer.
thank
And,
you. Yeah, I'm excited.
yeah, so I guess we can wrap up. I appreciate you joining me and getting to know you better. And look for Monday if I come, I'll say hello.